7:30. Roll call, please.
Mr. Simons.
Here.
Mr. Boda.
Here.
Mr. Horn.
Here.
Mr. Knotts.
Here.
Mr. Blackstock.
Here.
Cram here, and Mr. Petsalis is excused.
Thank you. Next, we have the Pledge of Allegiance. Ralph, would you lead us in that?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next thing we have is the approval of the agenda as presented. Has everybody had a chance to look it over?
I see nothing wrong with it. We got a couple additions, but they're okay. I'd make a motion, we go ahead and approve the agenda as presented.
It's been moved and supported that we approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the approval of the minutes of July 7th of 2014.
I'll make a motion to approve, if there are no corrections, additions, or spellings, I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of July 7th, 2014.
I'll support.
All right, it's been moved and supported that we approve the minutes of July 7th. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have public comment, which we have nobody in the audience tonight, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have the C1, July 2, 2014 Historical Commission minutes. We have the C2, is the June 2014 St. Clair Fire Report. We have the C3 is the June 2014 Investment Income Report. And C4 is the June 2014 Estimated Revenue and Expenditure Report.
I'd like to make note from the Historical Commission minutes that we got, a letter of resignation from Agnes Griefor. She has been on that committee forever, since it started. And it's gonna be sad to see her go. I'm just saying maybe sometime in the not too distant future, maybe the township could do something for her. They could write her a letter of being on the board, and maybe we can do something besides that a little bit
We
later.
can do that.
I think she was the originator of the,
Right, she's the originator. She's been officially, is recognized as a township historian also, so maybe we
Yeah,
can do
she's been
something.
quite an asset for the township for a number of years.
she's done
Right,
a great,
right.
she's done a great job on it.
So.
Okay, anything else on the consent agenda?
Yeah, on the page 4-25, I just have a question on attorney legal fees. The amount expended thus far, does that include Craig Land, or is that just?
I believe it is in there, yes. So we're probably gonna have to amend that budget.
Probably, I'm just wanting to know if that was including Craig Land's
I've been having her
fees.
put all the legal stuff
Okay.
on there.
In that case, we're doing probably pretty well.
It's what?
In that case, we're probably doing rather well on the
Yeah.
budget.
But we haven't used our
If it was
attorney
just Keith, I was wondering, okay.
too much as of late.
I have nothing else. And if no one else has anything, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll support.
All right, it's been moved and supported that we accept the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have disbursements. We have the bills of $72,039.33. We have payroll of $20,258.73. We have the ACH payments of $37,463.38 for a total disbursement of $129,761.44.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills in the amount of $129,761.44.
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported that we pay the bills in the sum of $129,761.44. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Blackstock.
Yes.
Mr. Knotts.
Yes.
Mr. Horn.
Yes,
Mr. Boda.
Yes.
Mr. Simons.
Yes,
Cram, yes.
motion carries. Next, we have the new business. This is a portable water pump quotes. The DPW is asking for a new pump. I went down Friday and looked at the pumps that we have. We have several pumps. They're old. I mean, some of those gotta be 40 years old, and I don't think we could get them started if we had to. Some smaller ones, some like 1.5 inches. He's suggesting that we get a 3-inch. I think we need it. We haven't bought anything in the DPW in 2 years.
I think the last thing we did buy from them was a pump. That
Was
was
it?
going back a while, yeah.
They have another pump. They got a bigger pump
Yeah,
there.
it was a bigger one that we
But-
bought.
They
got a
want this
6-inch.
one to keep up with, like when they had that Pine River job there the other day, the one wouldn't keep up. They had to get the electrics out. And this would be a gas one. What he did is he got a quote from Contractors Connection, and then he also called the Northern Equipment, which sells the same pump. So he got the two.
Where's that one at?
That's the one that says shopping cart.
Yeah,
The total that's on there is their
right.
quote.
It's theirs. It's $31.85.
I only see the one.
The other one looks like this.
One is just a single sheet, Don.
Yeah, it's just turned in here.
Yeah, with the northern one, you have to buy several items to equal the other one.
Next sheet.
Yeah, because you get the strainer, the hose.
Well, this is a
Examples.
package that he got
Yeah,
here from the Contractors Connection, and that's where we bought the most of our equipment.
yeah, he matched them up pretty well.
Yeah. And he's
Is
getting,
Is this the pump they use like when they're working in the holes, or is this,
Correct.
is this the pump out the,
pump out a hole.
pump out
If
the
they have a
holes?
leak, like a water
Okay.
main leak,
Yeah,
to keep up with it, because they don't shut the water actually completely off.
'cause you
They
don't
let
want
it flow, because you don't want it to contaminate the
Yeah.
line. So you gotta have a pump that's going to handle the
Contractors
job.
Connection looks like a good one for me, and I think we need it.
And he's happy with this company, Contractors
He
Connection?
is. We bought several pieces of equipment from them.
Which one are we talking about? The
This
contractors
one here.
connected? Yeah, okay.
Contractors.
Is there any, reason why we should think of the couplings?
This has got the couplings on it.
Okay, it already has
Yep.
couplings, okay.
He's apples for apples here.
Okay, very
Same
good.
pump, same kind of pump.
That's what I was gonna ask, if they were the same.
Yep. That's what I told them. We gotta be talking about the same animal here.
Well, if they're happy with Contractor Connection, then I make a motion that we accept the quote from Contractor Connection in the amount of $24,1525 for the pump and the miscellaneous parts.
I'll support that.
All right, it's been moved and supported that we purchase this pump from Contractors Connection, Auburn Hills, for $24.1525. Any further discussion?
I know they need one to keep that water out.
Well, we've got a lot of pumps down there, and talking
Gotta
to
have
Mike,
one- Gotta have one that works.
I think we should be getting rid of some of these old pumps. I mean,
Well, you've talked about modernizing our equipment. This is another step
we
in
gotta
that.
start. We
Yeah.
gotta get a start on it.
Yep.
I mean, those other pumps probably work, but it's gonna take you a long time to get them going. But I think, my idea is in the spring that we pool a lot of our excess equipment together and have a sale. We've got a lot of stuff that we're not using.
Well, okay, good.
Okay, is there any further discussion on this? We have a motion and a second. A roll call, please.
Mr. Simons?
Yes?
Mr. Blackstock?
Yes.
Mr. Knox?
Yes,
Mr. Boda?
Yes,
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Cram, yes.
Motion passes, thank you. Next, under new business, we got the Stewart, Bovee, and Whipple audit bill. I gave you a copy of it. I got the original here. I was asked to sign this, and I think I shared it with a couple board members when I got it. But I thought it should come to the board and we should make a motion. The extra billing is $7,200. And that will be divided up, that 7,200. I actually just got this. We're gonna divide that up over the general fund, the sewer, and the water, and the DPW. So, it's still a bill that we have to pay. These are, and I'll explain it to you. At the time of the audit, all this stuff was not presented to us. We didn't have all this stuff done. So I authorized the Stewart, Bovee, and Whipple, otherwise the audit would have been called off. We'd have been backed up on the audit for weeks. We gotta get the audit in, it had to be in on the 30th of June. So by letting them, I didn't realize it was gonna be this much money. But this is what I'm getting at with our accountant here. She's buried, I mean, she can't get the work done. There's so much, so this is just another thing that says we need some help in there. I mean, the township has gotten bigger in the last 30 years. There's more work. But that's not what we're settling here. To me, it's, we gotta pay this bill. I mean, we're owed it, so I wanted to go on record saying that we would have it, that we would pay it, and it would be in the minutes. Do you understand it? Do you? There's where
This is
Yep, oh, yeah.
this is the extra work they had to do then.
we weren't ready when they came in to do the audit. We weren't completely ready, so they had to go into these funds. They had to go into the big one
Okay.
was the sewer fund and the water, and they had to go in and get the rest of the stuff that we needed to complete the audit. So they put a person on it, so it's a lot of money. I mean-
I'll make a motion that, we pay Stewart, Bovee, and Whipple an extra cost of $7,200 for the, audit.
2013 audit.
Audit, yeah, 2013 audit.
I'll support.
All right, it's been moved and supported that we pay the bill here for $7,200 to complete the audit. The other part of the page here was the actual contract that we had with them for the $11,800. So is there any further discussions on the $7,200? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Simons?
Yes.
Mr. Boda?
Yes?
Mr. Horn?
Yes.
Mr. Knotts?
Yes.
Mr. Blackstock?
Yes.
Cram, yes.
Motion carries. We'll pay the bills. Thank you. All right, moving on to unfinished business. We tabled this education policy at the last meeting because Ralph wasn't here. I think that you brought this up, Ralph. I don't know.
Yeah,
if this-
I looked at it when I looked at it from the meeting that I wasn't here too, and I saw that you, because I had some comments on it then, and I still got some comments. I think I like this presentation. It gives us some idea of what some
we
of
thought we could
some
pick
of
and
our
choose.
options are. I think it is, I'm sure it is the township's advantage to have employees get the highest license they can in their department. It would kind of help us with the little problem we're in right now if we had more to select from. It also helps when somebody goes on vacation, we don't have to pay for somebody else from outside the township who has a special license, and when we're needing it. So there's an advantage to the township of doing this. And I know we now pay one day, we give a day off with pay to go take a test or to get their license. I would recommend that we increase our participation by paying for the fee, which is $95 every 3 years, but we only pay for the highest license in that, up to the highest license. You can't have like 5 or 6 licenses. When you get a 2, we don't pay for the 1, and when you get 1, you don't pay for the 2 anymore. You pay for the highest license in
Pay
each.
for the license that's needed for your job.
Yeah, the license that's needed for your job, the highest one in that department. It'd be nice if we had everybody that had the highest license in that department. But we have a small workforce, and it would make it a lot easier to schedule vacations when you could have people that can legally cover all of our bets at the same time. And the other thing I think we should pay for is to reimburse the CEC's costs for up to 2 during that 3-year period. I would not propose any mileage or stuff like that, but I think the extra cost for paying for the fee for that highest license for their department. I mean, I'm not talking about a guy in the water department going ahead and getting a sewer license too. It's for the department the guy works in. And that we'd also pay for the CECs that he's required to get over that 3-year period so that his license can be renewed. along with the day off for class. That's what I would propose as an improvement to our education policy.
Well, we had something like that before, then we voted it down. I mean, we got rid of it.
Yeah, I know, and
Now
but
someone-
they did that when the Addison issue was coming and there was a big,
Yeah, I know,
Dark
it's,
cloud hanging over
things
our
were
head.
tight in the township at the time, I realize that, but, you know, I've talked to several people who don't, all they get is a day off with pay, they don't get, the class is not paid for them, mileage to the class is not paid for them, there's food, there's lodging, they have to stay overnight, if it's, say it's, up north somewhere, and you're proposing we pay for all that now.
No, I would not recommend paying for any of the necessary expenses, i.e. travel costs or lodging. Just the cost of the classes and the cost of the license, and
He
then
wants
his
to do
1 day off
these
with
two.
pay. According to the estimate here, that would amount to about $167 a year for those people who opt to do it,
That's to maintain the license.
yeah.
right.
To get in Maine, same cost to get one. You gotta have the testing and then you pay for the license.
We already have a contract with them, why are we opening this one up? Why don't we just wait, that's something you can negotiate with them on the next contract, otherwise you're giving it to them.
That's true, Mr. Horn, and I agree with you. The thing is, I think that it is an advantage to the township to have this done, and it's something that we should do on our own, regardless of what we do with the union.
I can't agree with you there.
And I think one other thing to add to this, and I believe I'm correct, there never used to be a renewal fee, and this is something that just came out in the last year or two. This $95, I believe it was a free renewal. But on the other hand, you got some people that have 2 licenses. Do we pay for both renewals?
That's what I was saying. I know that some people, we have a policy, something about a guy could get up to 3 licenses per department. I would recommend we only pay to maintain the highest license.
Ralph, in the private sector, when I had to upgrade my license, I had to take the day off without pay and pay for everything. That's the private sector. That's why I say we're caving into them now.
Well, we're not, I don't, want to make
Well,
clear, mister, we're not
what-
caving in because they have not brought this up. I'm bringing this up.
These are great negotiating things in the next contract.
Well, if we did it now too, Ralph, if we did the $95, that would take it out through the end of our contract that we have existing right now, I believe.
You know, that's my proposal.
Yeah.
I'm, so what do other people think?
Yeah,
Okay, can I just ask a question? We're under options on this sheet. We're talking about paying for the first one.
We already pay for number 1.
Right.
which one?
Then
We already
number,
pay for the.
I'll pay
day
for
at the
license
class.
renewal fee,
Correct.
So
$95.
we wanna add those, he wants to add those 2 things,
So number 2
and number
Yes.
3.
and number 3.
So it's gonna cost the township about,
It said 167.
and the 95.
No, that's in there.
No, this is,
The CECs at 200, and
no, it's
this,
gonna cost you, 0.5 CECs is $100,
right,
and everybody needs 2, so that's $400 right there.
right, and the 95
Oh,
adds
I
up
see.
to
Okay,
500
yeah.
divided by 3 years,
All right, yep.
so
you're
it's
right.
$167 if we do these 3 things. We're already doing one of them, so we're doing adding these 2 gives us $167 a year to keep
Should
those
just go
licenses,
with
per
license
employee
fee
that
for
has
things.
them.
I think we ought to do something.
The individuals that have multiple licenses, do they require, is one,
We
we're
have,
only paying for the high, if you're proposing to pay for the highest license, do the lower licenses mean anything at this point?
The lower licenses would mean 25, well, I'd have to look at it.
some people
The union-
need 4
the union-
CECs.
The union contract permits additional 10 cents an hour for each license that a employee gets, up to a maximum of 3, except that there are some employees who were grandfathered when that was put in, who have, I believe there's nobody left with 5, but there are some people that have 4 licenses, then they get an extra 10 cents an hour. That's what they get for, at the present time, if they get and maintain their license.
But those CECs, some people need 2, some people need 4. They're all, everybody's pretty much different on what they need there.
But we're only, in Mr. Knott's proposal, we're only agreeing to pay up to 2 in a 3-year period.
Oh, just gonna pay 2.
Right. Reimburse for CE costs as completed and/or max 2 during a 3-year period. So we need to pick and/or, I would say, max 2 during a 3-year period.
Well, we gotta decide if we wanna do it first, so. I mean, that's Mr. Knotz's opinion on what the 2 he would like. I think we should do the license renewal at least. But on the other hand.
One license, or if they have 2 licenses?
Just the $95 is all I would pay
For the highest license.
for the highest license.
If they chose to maintain the lesser license, that would be on them.
And then like what Mr.
It'd
Bodie
be on
said,
them, but they'd get the 10 cents.
it's
an hour.
opening the door. We're getting the door open too. And then like Mr. Bodie says, at the negotiations, we can talk about the rest of it.
I mean, we used to do most of this before.
We did
The
it
o-
all.
The only reason we wiped it out was because we needed the money to pay off Edison. And this is not, okay.
Well, we pay them for the day, and they, what is their pay? It's well over $200 a day.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, all over.
Yeah.
Why can't they use that for their education? Private sector, you get nothing.
No, I disagree.
Hard man.
I mean, I pay my employees.
Well, you're lucky.
If it's a license, well, it's for most people in the private sector nowadays. I mean, if you're using that license in the course of your day to perform your duties, if that's required, typically it's paid by the employer. You can go out and you can test for those licenses if you'd like, but many employers actually pay for that cost. I mean, to pay for the renewal fee, you almost have to pay for the continuing education, because you have to maintain the training to actually renew that license. So, to do one without the other would almost be difficult.
But I think we talked about that's a condition of employment for them to have that license too. They can't be employed without the license.
Well, can we table this again till we get a full board? We tabled it last week because we didn't have a full board.
Yeah,
I mean, we could table this until the next contract negotiation, as far as I'm concerned.
yeah. Well, make a motion, somebody, one way or the other.
I'll make a motion that we table it till we get a full board then. Just happened to be, we're missing one again tonight.
Well, if you want to wait until there's a full board, I'll just wait until the next meeting. I'll support it.
I moved and supported that we table this until we have a full board. So I put it on the next agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, next we got Resolution 5-214, opposing the construction of a nuclear waste repository. I actually got another, this was emailed to us. I actually got a letter from our senator here today in support of us showing, I just got this late, Mr. Pavlo, and he is in support of us. This is attached, you will find the draft resolution your elected body could pass to show your support for the legislation. We have also included a template, so that's what we have here.
Who wrote the letter, sir? Is our attorney?
No, no,
This
no,
came
no.
from
This
Philip
was
Pavlov and.
Phil Pavlov.
And Mike
come through.
Green.
This is about the nuclear waste thing they want to put over.
Oh,
at-
yeah, I know exactly what it's, not in my backyard, that's exactly what it is.
Right. And this is a show of support.
I think almost every municipality up that way has voted against this.
Every time I hear about this, all I do is look at a map and say, are you kidding?
You're right by the water.
You have this
Too close
much
to the
land, and
lakes.
you need to put it right here, a mile from the lake. A mile from the largest freshwater in the country?
In the world.
I have no problem reading this resolution and signing away.
Okay, well, Dee, would you like to read what you can of it?
Sure.
They got all kinds of places to put it besides there.
Resolution 5-2014, opposing the construction of a nuclear waste repository in the Great Lakes Basin, East China Charter Township, County of St. Clair, Michigan. Minutes of the regular, do I have to read that part? I'm sorry, I haven't done this before.
Yeah, just,
Okay, minutes of the regular meeting of the Township Board of East China, County of St. Clair, Michigan, held at the Township Hall on the 21st day of July, 2014, at 7:30 PM. Whereas Ontario Power Generation is proposing to construct a deep geological repository, which is an underground long-term burial facility for all of Ontario's low and intermediate level radioactive nuclear waste at the Bruce Nuclear Generating Station, some of which is highly radioactive and will remain toxic for over 100,000 years. This site is approximately 1 kilometer inland from the shore of Lake Huron and about 400 meters below the lake level. Whereas water is the nation's and Canada's most important natural resource and should be protected and managed prudently, whereas the Great Lakes are an irreplaceable natural resource containing 20% of the world and 95% of the United States fresh water vital to human and environmental health, whereas the Great Lakes are vital to the economic and agricultural well-being of both Canada and the United States of America, whereas Lake Huron and the connecting waters, including Lake St. Clair, are a source of drinking water for millions of people downstream in the United States of America, Canada, and First Nations, whereas concern has been expressed over the proposed OPG-DGR by individual citizens and environmental groups and municipalities and countries in both Canada and the United States. That was counties, I'm sorry. Whereas under the 2012 protocol amending the agreement between Canada and the United States of America on Great Lakes water quality, the governments of the United States and Canada acknowledge the importance of anticipating, preventing, and responding to threats to the waters of the Great Lakes. Whereas the governments of Canada and the United States share a responsibility and an obligation to protect the Great Lakes from contamination from various sources of pollution, including the potential leak of radioactivity from an underground nuclear waste repository. Whereas placing a permanent nuclear waste burial facility so close to the Great Lakes is ill-advised, the potential damage to the Great Lakes from any leak or breach of radioactivity far outweighs any suggested economic benefit that might be derived from burying radioactive nuclear waste at this site. The ecology of the Great Lakes, valuable beyond measure to the health and economic well-being of the entire region, should not be placed at risk by storing radioactive nuclear waste underground so close to the shoreline. Whereas Michigan has significant experience with concerns for siting a radioactive waste disposal facility, as the state went through an exhaustive siting process over 20 years ago and concluded there was no viable location for constructing such a facility. Whereas the Michigan Senate has expressed serious concerns for the failure of the siting process in Ontario for the proposed OPG-DGR to fully account for all potential impacts of the proposed facility by passing a legislative package urging intervention by the Great Lakes Commission and the International Joint Commission and a special legislatively created advisory board, SB 948, SCR 16, SCR 17, SR 150, and SR 151 have all been passed unanimously by the Michigan Senate. Now therefore be it resolved that East China Township, Michigan, in order to protect the Great Lakes and its tributaries, urges that neither this proposed nuclear waste repository at the Bruce Nuclear Generating Station, nor any other underground nuclear waste repository be constructed in the Great Lakes Basin in Canada, the United States, or any First Nation property. Be it further resolved that East China Township, Michigan urges the Government of Canada and the Government of Ontario to reject and seek alternative to Ontario Power Generation's proposal to bury radioactive nuclear waste in the Great Lakes Basin. In addition, pursuant to SR 16 and SR 151, East China Township also urges President Obama to take all necessary steps to engage the International Joint Commission. Be it further resolved that the copies of this resolution be provided to Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper, Ontario Premier Kathleen Wynne, Canadian Federal Minister of the Environment Leona, I'm not gonna get that, I can't say AGLUKKAQ, the Great Lakes Commission, the International Joint Commission, governors and legislative leaders of the 8 Great Lakes states, Michigan Governor Rick Snyder, State Senators Phil Pavlov and Mike Green, U.S. Senators Carl Levin and Debbie Stabenow, U.S. Representative Candace Miller, as well as the Joint Review Panel Deep Geological Repository for Low and Intermediate Level Radioactive Waste, case reference 17520, co-manager Ms. Deborah Miles. The following resolution is offered by member, I'll do it, Cram, and supported by member,
I'll support that.
Okay. We have to vote on that, don't we?
That's a bad
Yes.
thing.
I believe we do.
Bad place to
Okay.
put it.
Is there any further questions on this? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A resolution. Thank you. All right, moving on, we have an ordinance 311 illicit discharge, first reading. Did you say you wanted to do that, Don? Huh? Oh, was the other one? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll take it, yeah, there's no problem,
I'm sorry.
no problem. You want this whole thing right?
Well, I think we're pretty, maybe,
I
I
think we,
recommend purpose and
I think we
intent,
can just
Just
go
right
with,
here.
purpose and intent.
and the
I
rest
think.
is
right,
available
that's all.
for reading.
The rest is
yeah.
on file.
And the rest is available for reading at the township
Right.
hall.
Russ will be ready in the office, they can read it then. This is a long one, 8 pages. Purpose and intent. This is gonna be an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 453, Water and Sewers, Article 3, illicit discharge. Subsection 453-30, purpose and intent, to provide for the health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of East China Township through the regulation of non-stormwater discharges to the municipal separate storm sewer system, MS4, to the maximum extent practical as required by federal state law. This ordinance establishes methods for controlling the introduction of pollutants into the MS4 in order to comply with requirements of the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, NEPID's, permit process. It goes on for another 7 or 8 pages. A copy of it is available in Township Hall for reading.
Okay, I'll support that.
It's first reading, right?
Oh, first reading, okay, yeah, we want to support, okay. We don't have to do any further on that then.
That was first reading, right?
All right? So that was today.
Read the whole thing, make him read the whole thing.
Okay, moving on, we're up to member comments. Mr. Horn.
I just have that one. I went up on the end of Catherine Street. There has been nothing that the county has taken to clean that ditch or anything out. And if you're gonna be doing that water tank, you're gonna have to have a little bit of time.
Yeah, I've been in contact with,
Have you?
yeah, they're gonna take care of it.
Okay.
Yep. They're just
I
behind.
was keeping my eye on it.
Yeah, that's on Margaret there. and,
Yes.
On
Well,
Oak,
It's along Oak
yeah, Oak,
and
not
over to
Catherine.
Margaret.
Yeah, yeah, they're gonna, I authorized them to, change that culvert and then clean that ditch up.
Right.
But I guess depending on how we do that painting of that tower, we may not have to dump the whole tower. We gotta dump it, but we can let it get down so low and then only dump a little
Yeah,
bit.
you don't wanna flood them people out.
Right, so we wanna make sure that's right, yeah. correct. Okay, anything
That's all,
else?
that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Boda?
I have just one. Out here on Recor Road, when you, come off of Point Drive, you start driving west on Recor, there's a piece of concrete there, it's either dropped or it's shifted. But when you drive through it, it sounds like it's tearing the bottom of your car out. I just wanted the county to check on that and maybe throw some patch in there or
We've
something.
already had that on our hit list. We did the one side, when Jack was here, we did one side of the road and the other side, and it's a $20,000 fix to do from the Point Drive to River Road. There's like 6 or 8 flags of cement that's gotta come out of there. If you wanna just do the worst ones, we can do that. They've suggested that, we just do the worst ones.
Well, the one that I know we hit
Okay.
every time we go out there, it sounds like the bottom of your car's going out.
All right, Recor Road, fix that, and that's the one nearer to Point
There's the
Drive?
Point Drive, yeah.
Okay, Recor Road,
That's all I have, thank you.
Ms. Graham,
I'm good for right now.
Mr. Next up,
I have nothing, thank you.
Nothing.
Mr. Knotts. I got just a couple things as usual. Yeah, we're in progress over there at the sewer plant, we're getting some things done now. They've actually asked for their first big draw. So we haven't made a draw on that state revolving fund yet, but we're getting ready to do that. Mr. Pike over at the sewer plant is really staying on top of it. He's coordinating with me, and I think progress is gonna start happening there now. I mean, we've got one tank done. They're supposed to have another one done. I think they're gonna test it Thursday, and then they're gonna put the new boiler in and some piping, and it's probably not gonna be done before spring. It's gonna be ongoing all that time, because we have to still run the plant and take part down and do that. We're gonna bid out the water tower and the Dolphin water line. It'll probably be the first week of August here. We're gonna get the bid packages to go out, so that'll be coming to us. We wanna get those 2 projects done yet this year. Another project I'm working on is getting a new roof here on the township hall. I'm working with Mr. Blackstock. We're trying to get some kind of bid proposal together to decide on how we want to do the roof here. We also need a new roof up at the cemetery on the chapel. That's pretty bad.
This roof isn't that old here on the hall, is it?
When did they put the roof on?
Parcell was the supervisor.
Well,
That's
if
been
you
around
know-
15
Then
years.
Jack took over after him, so it can't be that old. It's
Jack
probably
was here
15
12 years.
old.
Yeah, well, go
It
look
should
at the
last a
back.
lot
It's all
longer.
curled up, and,
It should last a
front
lot
is pretty
longer than
bad.
that.
well, these shingles, I understand that we got a little rebate on these shingles here a few years ago, but we never changed them. There was something wrong with the shingles?
Gonna get the architectural guy.
Huh?
Gonna get the architectural
12 years on questionable shingles is not bad.
Yeah. So that's something we're looking at. I'd like to get that done. So we're working on that.
Not in this area.
What else do they have?
Probably should have followed up on that, Larry, because I had a problem with some shingles, and I followed up with the company, and they reimbursed me.
Well, they got reimbursed something on
Okay.
there. I can't, I'd have to check with the office. It was before my tenure here. But,
Okay.
they got something back is what I've understood. I can check on that and see what we got. But other than that, we're just busy
Maybe
plugging
get
along
advice,
here.
maybe could advise the people that, the construction at the south end of Point Drive with the new gas line going, that's all for getting
That'll
it
be
ready
for-
for the new bridge and for the
The
pavement.
Point Drive Bridge will be taking place here in early August, and also the Springborn Road will be underway in early August too, so. Those 2 projects are gonna be in the works. In case people don't know, we're putting the bridge in down there. It's mostly being paid for by a federal grant. The Springborn Road, we're using our county match money to do that. We're gonna do it in a 3-year cycle. The first year, we're going to prep the road, widen it, re-ditching, different culverts, and then the road will sit for 2015, and then in 2016, we'll come back with more county road match money, and we'll pave it.
Well,
It's,
that's good for it to let it set for a year or two to settle.
It's close to, don't quote me on numbers, but I think it's about $580-some thousand to do that job. That's a mile of paving, so. Those are some of the things that are going on in the township
Got
right
the
now.
curb and gutter from 29 to the bridge on Pine Drive.
There'll be curb and gutter at the bridge on 29. From M29 to the bridge will be curb and gutter. And also, we got a new street light put up there at that intersection too. That's up there. That was long waited to get that done, but stuff moves slow in here. And the other thing I'd like to do is I'd like to just give my condolence to the city of Marine City in losing their employee. Nobody likes to lose anybody, especially at work. So I think I can speak for the board, and our thoughts go out to the family of Mr. Markle. So with that, I guess a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn at 8:11.
I'll support.
It's been moved that we adjourn at 8:11. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.